Hey everybody, Jeppy here, and welcome to another amazing episode of Battle of the Operators. This is a video series where you guys, the community, vote on a rank that you'd give for a certain operator and compare it to previous operators we have done in other videos. And this time you guys voted for Maestro. You guys control on who we do next by commenting down below which operator you'd like to vote on and see in a future video. Now, whichever operator in the next 24 hours gets the most comments will be the one that we do in the next video. Now make sure you're subscribed so you can vote on the polls and leave amazing comments to be featured in a video, and you can find that on my community tab for my YouTube channel. Now with the intro out of the way, let's get right into the results for what you guys voted on Maestro. And we can see that 188 of you guys voted, with 65% of you voting in A, 23% of you guys voting in B, 10% voting as C, and then leaving a final 1% for both D and F respectively. And when we do the math here, with A being a score of 5 and F being a score of 1, we get an average score of 4.49 out of 5 stars. And let me just say, wow, I didn't think any operator would get this high up on the list so quickly into this series. And since this is only the second episode in this series, we only have Doc and Maestro to go off of. So based on this chart, we can see that Maestro blew Doc out of the water, and I could have saw that one coming. I didn't think it was gonna be by that much though. But once you get a lot more videos coming out here in this series, and then we could really start seeing the ranks that you guys voted for all these operators, and it'll make a lot more sense when we get a couple episodes deep into this series. You guys left some amazing comments on what you thought about Maestro and why you gave the rank that you did. Speaking of those amazing comments, we're gonna go off of the top rated comment, and this episode it comes from Ravi Lowly, and it is: Maestro is a top tier operator in my opinion. The loss of his ACOG was a considerable hit to his usefulness, but not enough for me to place him outside of top tier. Maestro brings an insane amount of utility with a shotgun pistol for rotates, impact nades also for rotates, but in my opinion should primarily be used for impact tracking, an insanely good primary weapon in the Alda, DPS comparable to the L85A2, but with faster TTK and faster fire rate for higher headshot potential. And I haven't even talked about the Evil Eye gadget yet. Maestro's gadget is extremely good, a bulletproof camera that can see through smokes, deny a plant, finish off injured enemies, and destroy breaching utility. Maestro's intel gathering potential cannot be stressed enough, and simply the amount of pressure that is put on attackers to get rid of the Evil Eye should also be noted. Maestro also pairs perfectly with Jaeger and Womai, who is an extremely prevalent operator in the current meta. I think the simple fact that Jaeger has a high pick rate will mean that more often than not, you can't just use explosives to take out the camera, because the ADS will likely be protecting it. This is all without even mentioning that Maestro is thick as hell and has such a glorious beard that I'm surprised that he doesn't single-handedly win him and his team matches. You can see why that's a top rated comment. I loved that comment. I immediately hearted it, and that deserves to be the top rated comment. The impact nades can be used for impact tricking. Your Evil Eye is very versatile and also destroying the hard breaching devices. There's really not much to say after your comment because it's just so good. So let's just move on to the next one. The next comment comes from MV Austria, and it is: I believe Maestro is an A tier because he is godlike when played correctly. The Alda is undeniably the best gun on defense with or without ACOG, and his gadget, the Evil Eyes, are powerful. Unlike most bulletproof utility, you can't melee it, you need explosives to get rid of this thing, therefore attackers consume their utility to get past them. When the Evil Eyes are paired with a Jaeger ADS or Womai disc, it is untouchable, and that's not all. When the attackers are planting with enough hits, the Evil Eyes can down the attacker planting. It can also see through smoke, which is OP. Maestro brings a lot to the team, but it takes some experience to use him right. And I will agree with you that Alda is probably the best gun on the game. Now we're talking about Jaeger's gun, we're talking about, you know, the MP5, we're talking about the Vector, like all MP7, like all amazing weapons on defense. But when it really comes down to it, I do think that the Alda probably is the best. Now it was a lot stronger, like how you said, when the ACOG, when you did have an ACOG. But you're saying that it's the undeniably the best gun on defense with or without ACOG. And I think when you slap a hollow on it, it's still a really good weapon. The utility of the Evil Eyes are amazing. Seeing through smoke is such a underlooked power to the Evil Eye. So really great comment. Thank you so much. And I agree with you. Next comment comes from Zonic, and it is, I give him an A. His loss of ACOG really took a chunk off the grade, but in general, he is a really solid operator. Starting with this gun, the Alda is an amazing LMG, especially with the minimal recoil and huge ammo capacity. But for the shotgun, including the buff, it's alright. The range is good, but that's basically it. Now to his ability. His ability is useful if the player knows where, how, and when to shoot. Most Maestros shoot as they see an enemy, which isn't that good. The damage is good, at least for a laser, but it would be more useful at the end of a game where they might have to plan or do not worry about the gadget. So generally Maestro is an A because he good in most ways to outweigh the bad. Edit, also forgot to say that Maestro player will get 10 assists every game. You're right. But there's definitely one thing I wanted to talk about for your comment, and that's why I brought it up. A lot of Maestro players, and I struggle with this too, will immediately open up the little hatch and start shooting an operator when the operator's even looking right at the evil eye. Like, you are asking for the evil eye to be taken out, and you just lost some of, if not the best utility on defense just by trying to get 20 HP off of an operator. Totally not worth it. You're way better off just pinging the crap out of them and really like saving your lasers until you absolutely have to, whether you have to deny the plant, shoot a Twitch drone that's coming by, or denying exothermic charge or Ace's, canned hard breach or Hibana's X Kairos. That's a great comment. Thank you very much. The next comment comes from the Senator, and it is A. Soaks up attack utility. You have to clear it if you expect a plant. 2. Smoke and his plants are ineffective against evil eyes. 3. Evil eyes will kill the attacker before plant can get off. You know this very well, Jeppy. I do. This happened to me the other day. 4. His kit alone, the Alda, the Bailiff, and Impact. When considering the playstyle expected to be played, considering his ability as well as his amazing kit, he can easily be put into the top 5 of best defenders. Highly agree. Top 5 best defenders, Maestro definitely belongs in there. Probably one of the best versatile defenders that we have in the game. I mean, we're talking intel, we're talking he could frag out if he needs to. We're talking anti-breach if needed. You can destroy drones. Like, there's so much stuff that Maestro brings to the table, all in one complete thick boy package. Next comment comes from God's Dog, and it is, Maestro can do so much with the camera, which is almost impossible to break. He has a 1-speed, but this LMG can be considered the best gun on defense. His gadget can be used in many ways. One way is that he can plant denial. A second way is that he can prevent hard breach by shooting lasers at thermite charges, Hibana pellets, and Ace's gadget. We kind of just talked about that. You can just use his camera as well to get information. One strategy is that you have to put his camera on a wall of a hatch, then break the hatch so Sledge can't get it. So you have an amazing gun and gadget, which when you have both of them, being a 1-speed doesn't matter. I like the part where you said, if you destroy the hatch below, Sledge can't get it, because that's kind of true. If you have it high up or something and you destroy the hatch, you can't grab it. So you'd have to rely on like Ash, Twitch, Thatcher, Zofia, other operators that can deal with Maestro. Next comment comes from Duffy EA, and it is, I think Maestro is an A operator as he brings a lot of utility to the team. He brings 2 evil eyes and possibly 2 barbed wire. Not only that, his Alda is insane with low recoil and 81 bullets. A perfect operator to clutch with. Not only do his evil eyes bring intel to the team, they also do damage to the attackers and can shoot drones and other utility. Also, the evil eye cannot be shot unless Maestro is using it to shoot people, meaning that an Ash and have to use 2 breaching rounds or 2 Zofia charges, burning attackers utility. Overall, I rate him an A operator, 10 out of 10. Duffy gave him a perfect 10 out of 10, and I can agree with that. I honestly can't agree with that. Now, maybe I would put a 9 out of 10. If he did have his ACOG, like back when Maestro has ACOG, he was so good. Then I would put him at 10 out of 10. But I mean, I don't think it gets much better than Maestro. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like ever since Maestro lost his ACOG, it's been kind of really hard for me to be as successful with Maestro as I used to when he did have his ACOG. Let's move on to the next comment coming from Dio, and it is, I'm saying an A operator because he's got an LMG that can do a good amount of damage, but is also sprayable, and his gadget can block out flanks, which is great, and also his gadget does a good amount of damage, and if used correctly can be the clutch of the round. I will agree with you that in like a 1v3, 1v4, I wouldn't want any other operator on defense than Maestro in that position. I wouldn't want any other operator than Maestro. If he has to clutch a 1v3, I think that's a very winnable situation for Maestro. Not only can he deny the plants with his evil eye, but he can also just completely frag out and not have to reload with the Alda, an amazing weapon. We already discussed this. Clutch City comes from Maestro. Next comment comes from Phase Lock, and it is C, because if he dies, the cams are essentially bulletproof cams that typically are facing the wrong way. Most Maestro players suck with the tasers, and they typically get lost in the first 5 seconds of the round as they try annoying the attackers. Also, they stole his ACOG for no reason, so now I'm sad. C rank, okay. I will say that, you know, sometimes it is very inconvenient when Maestro does die and his bulletproof or his evil eyes are looking some weird direction. You can't really use them. You kind of use them for audio cues, which is still really powerful, but you can't ping them. You can't get like 100% confirmation where they are. Other than that, like, Maestro players really do have to be disciplined to not shoot the attackers as soon as they see them. You got to wait for the perfect time. If you are going to shoot an attacker or open up the shields to your evil eye, you have to do it in a perfect situation to where you're not getting it shot. Next comment comes from Shaden Fruit. I'm sorry if I completely butchered your name. To be honest, Maestro is a B tier operator. He has a great gun and his ability is insanely useful if the Maestro knows what they're doing. Some games can be carried by Maestro alone. That being said, I feel like a lot of players don't use Maestro right. Many of the players I've played with didn't even know that you could shoot with them, and if they did, they would lose the evil eyes way too fast to get any use out of it. That's why I say B tier, because he's good, but for some it's hard to get right. Wow. I would be so mad at my team if they had absolutely no idea that Maestro can shoot the tasers. I'd be like, what are you throwing? Oh man. Well, I'm sorry you had to deal with that. I don't think I've ever had to deal with that unless someone's brand new to the game. But wow, I'm sorry I had to deal with that, man. Next comment comes from Alex Smith, and it is, although Maestro lost his ACOG and his hip fire was decreased, I think that it was for the better. Since Maestro is the only defending operator that has access to an LMG, this could make a good operator a very campy operator. He was like a second Echo to me because he has his own cams that shoots lasers, and with good placements with evil eyes, he could sit in a corner outside of OBJ and shoot enemies without moving anything but his fingers. For this, it makes it a C for me. Okay, so we talked about that. We understand why he got his nerfs, because he was really strong. You're comparing him to a second Echo. I guess they kind of step in each other's territory of like plant denial and all that. And finally, we're gonna wrap up the last comment here with Hazards HG, and it is A. Maestro has 2 cams which are bulletproof, which means unless there is a sledge, the attackers are going to have to waste some of the utility to destroy them. When you add the fact that each shot of the lasers do 5 points of damage and that he has an LOG, you have a very strong anchor with great plant denial when played right. And I think that's a good comment to summarize the overall theme with today's video. Your utility with the evil eyes, having to actually have attackers waste utility on the evil eyes as well, and then also being able to, you know, use the lasers for a vast majority of versatile situations. And then at the very end, you have that amazing Alda to defend yourself once the attackers reach this site. Sorry for everyone who submitted a comment and I couldn't get to it. I didn't want the video to get too long. Make sure to leave a comment down below on which operator you like to see next in a future video, and in the next 24 hours, whichever operator has the most comments or most likes, I'll put a poll up on my community tab, and then that'll be the next video that you guys can vote and comment on. Well, that's all I got for you. Now it's your turn to tell me something. Do you agree with the poll, or do you have something different that you would rank Maestro? You can let me know by leaving a comment down below. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. Now, with all that being said, Jeppy out.